What is up, people of YouTube? Welcome to another day in paradise. My name is Cody McCarty, and you're watching another vlog. Today's video is going to be a little different. It's not going to be a going out vlog, it's actually going to be a tutorial. This tutorial is designed for people who maybe have a camera that is both a great stills camera and video camera. The big focus of this video is going to be talking about video settings specifically on my Sony a7R III. The settings will be very similar to the Sony a7 III, and you can kind of get away with it on the a7S II, as well as maybe the a7R II. With all that being said, let's dive into the menu system and go from there. Okay, so first thing, you're gonna go ahead and hop on over to the menu system. Now that you've pulled up the menu, you're going to see several icons up at the top. These are camera settings. The first set has to mostly do with photos, so we're gonna just carry on over to set 2. You can see that I have the file format set to 4K and 24 frames per second, 100 megabytes per second. I recommend using the highest quality one. That way you aren't losing information. These are S&Q settings. I have mine set for time lapses, so 1 frame per second really shows motion going by fast. But let's focus on the video features. Now we're actually gonna hop back into the first camera menu. We're gonna go to picture profile. So right here, I selected PP8, and we're gonna go into my custom settings for SLOG 3. The beauty of Sony cameras is you can get a lot of dynamic range, and we want to take full advantage of that. There's a lot of debate on whether or not people use SLOG 2 or SLOG 3. I personally use SLOG 3, but you can use SLOG 2. But for the sake of this video, we're going to look at SLOG 3. First things first, you might notice that I have the black level set to -15, and then I have the black gamma set to middle, and then knee, manual, and the manual settings are 102.5%, slope 0. Color mode, S gamut 3, cine, and then saturation plus 22. Color depth, these are the settings that I have. I have red plus 2, green plus 2, blue plus 4, cyan -4, magenta -4, and yellow plus 4. Now, if you want to get similar colors to what I have in my videos, those are the settings that you're going to want to record with. At the end of the video, I'll get into some of the color correcting for these picture profiles. Cool, now that we got that all set, there's a couple things that I personally have set up. I always set it to manual exposure. That way I can control the settings like the shutter speed, as well as the aperture number, but there's no lens on here, but that F number is the aperture number. When you're recording, let's say 4K at 24 frames per second, it's good to have your shutter speed at the reciprocal rule. So if you're shooting at 24 frames per second, 1/50th of a second is ideal. And then if you're recording at, let's just say 120 frames per second, you'd want 2/50th of a second. Simple answer is, it helps you get natural motion blur and makes the shot look a little bit more natural. Now, we're gonna hop on over and look at the file formats. So you have 4K here, which doesn't offer high frame rate. So if you wanna get slow-mo footage, you're gonna go over to HD right here. I already have mine set to 120 frames per second, but you have options like 30, 120 at 60 megabits per second. Up here is 60, so essentially you want your end product to be at 24 frames per second. So divide 120 by 24, that's 5 times slow motion. Divide 60 by 24, that's about 50% slow motion. I like to have it set to a quick key, which is up top here, so it's actually set to my 3. That way I can jump in between really quickly, high frame rates and 4K. There you guys have it. There's some of my video settings. Let's talk a little bit about how to color correct that SLOG 3 footage. So if you pull up Final Cut or iMovie or whatever editing program you have, this is gonna be the quickest, easiest way to color correct this footage. You can get into color wheels, you can get into shadow curves and highlight curves and all that stuff, but I'm gonna just go through how you can edit this in a minute. So I have the LumaScopes on right here, and what I do is I just drag down the exposure so that way the shadows are touching are touching the bottom bar. Sometimes I'll go a little bit below if I want deeper blacks. Then for highlights, I'll drag the bar to the top. That way I'm getting the most dynamic range out of the footage that I have. The reason I added all the saturation in my custom color profile is because I like a little bit more saturation, and if I didn't have the camera add the saturation, when I go to add saturation, I'd be dragging the bar all the way to the top and it would barely look like it has some color to it. The benefit of shooting in a picture profile is you have the image as flat as possible, so you have more control in post to bring out those shadows, to bring out those highlights, and to correct stuff, as well as get as much dynamic range. Dynamic range is essentially being able to see something in the shadows as well as seeing something in the highlights in the same image. That is one of the benefits of shooting on a Sony camera or a DSLR, is you're going to get more dynamic range than you would with your iPhone. That should be a quick intro into how to shoot video on your Sony a7R III or a7 III. And some of the things I talked about apply to other cameras, but that was my big focus because I was asked, how do you shoot video with this? Because there's some photographers who use these solely for photo, but they're also great video cameras. Myself being a hybrid shooter, shooting both photo and video, I love the Sony system, and I feel that it's important that you know how to take advantage of both the video and photo features. If you guys have any questions that I did not answer, leave those comments down below and I'll try to get back to you guys with the answers. And if I need to make another video explaining everything, I will gladly do it. I appreciate you guys watching this. Sorry it's not a normal vlog, however, I thought it would be useful information for some of the people who asked. Plus it made today's vlog pretty easy, just because I have a lot of work to do and I don't want to have to go out. Well, thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up. If you guys want to see more, hit that subscribe button down below, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.